Hi friends, it's time for That's Life with Julie, and today, well, Julie had an incident this weekend. Julie was playing tennis like Venus Williams. She was hitting them this way, she was returning them that way, and she went towards the net, and her little toes came up out of her shoes, and she heard, something distinctly, like not good on the bottom of her foot. So the husband brought her home. She went online because she couldn't afford the $27,000 ER visit that it would have been. And thanks to the savviness of her doctor wannabe friends and physical therapist friends and such, pretty much have determined I have a strained ligament on the bottom of my right foot, which looks something like this. Lovely. Yep, got that all worked out. So for the next 4 to 6 weeks, I get to do nothing, which is kind of ironic because that's kind of what I've done all but 5 days of my 46 years, and just the time I had found what other people refer to as, well, my doctor used to call it exercise, and he also spoke of these things called, I don't know, endorphins, something like that. He called them like pleasure. I don't know, it made you have a sense of pleasure. And I never felt that with exercise. I just always wanted to like kill somebody when I exercised. But I found tennis, and now I can't play it. So how... kind of made me crabby. And then I'm getting on my phone and I see all these little tweets and twits and all these updates from friends of mine, comrades, fellow writers who are at the International Christian Retailers Convention in Orlando, Florida, and they're talking about who they met, and they've got publisher meetings and radio meetings and television meetings, and I haven't been for like 5 years. And, I didn't think it really bothered me until I started seeing how much fun they were having and how much success they were having. And then I got crabby and I was kind of grumping around thinking I should have gone this year. And golly, what's up with me? Why can't I be more like that? And then the last thing, and I'm just going to be honest with you, have I just really been struggling with this whole church thing, going to church. I know, I'm going to be like banned from like certain people in my immediate family for even admitting that, but I've struggled with church. I've struggled with going to church. I've struggled with like the whole point of church. And I asked this of my husband one day. I said, Rick, what's the point? I mean, why bother? Why bother going? And Rick, being the good husband, I mean, he told me all the right things, the things that I know, the Bible talks about it, but, just voicing that out loud and admitting it to you, because you're like, Julie, you're like Jesus girl. You probably go to church like 9 times a week. No. And it's a different place for me. It's a hard place for me. And I've kind of beat myself up about it. And anyway, it's where I am. So all this is going on. This is life with Julie, right? You got like 3,000 things going, and then, you have this insight. So today this is happening. I'm sitting on the couch, got my foot elevated, icing it and all that jazz. And I thought of this scripture from the New Testament book of Galatians, chapter 1, verse 6. And the Apostle Paul says to those in Galatia, the city of Galatia, he says, I'm amazed. I mean, it's like astounds me how quickly you are deserting Jesus, deserting him who called you by the grace of Christ. You're deserting for this different gospel, and it's not so much a different gospel but that others have distorted it, and yet there you are, and you're walking away from that. And he's disturbed by this, and I was like, oh man, that's like so me. Can I just tell you that I feel like I'm one of those that Paul would be like, smack, 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 Julie. I mean, like, hello. I mean, all it takes is a little foot injury. All it takes is, I don't know, a little writer's block for the past 4.5 years to really have you just kind of deserting some of the base things. Now listen, I'm not talking about saying Jesus is not the Christ. I'm not talking about that. And I'm not saying that there's no point in church and abandon all the churches. No, all right? I'm just being honest with you guys. And this really struck me because I was like, gosh, Julie, how quickly are you kind of walking away from some base things, because things are hard or they're hard to understand? I know, especially something I've spoke with several women about is that those of us who we have a strong sense of this is what I was meant to do. This is what I'm supposed to be doing right here, right now. And yet there's not this fiery passion for it the way that we would have identified with it 3 years ago or 10 years ago. It's a hard place. And then at times, you know, you can get to, well, you know, is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? And maybe I should just quit, or maybe there's no point in what I'm doing, blah, 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 blah. All right? So, to speak, kind of what Paul says, is like, how quickly are you deserting this? So, today I was like, Lord, help me to know what is the gospel of Jesus Christ? I mean, what is it? Hands down, what's it all about? And one of the things I heard and learned years ago was the end purpose of man, the end purpose of woman, is to worship God and to glorify Him forever. And I believe that is like the gospel in a nutshell. And I also believe the gospel is summed up in the word love, to love others, to love ourselves, to extend that love of Jesus Christ to those in our family, those in our neighborhood, and those in the world. So that is what the gospel is. So I've just been thinking about how some of these hard places had a tendency to let that kind of distort and kind of skew my perception of the one thing, of the most important thing of the gospel of Jesus Christ. So I haven't figured it all out yet. I'm still kind of in that what's the point thing. I'm going to church, you know. I found a place that you couldn't find a sweeter group of people that love Jesus anymore. I mean, this is just me. Maybe it's like a midlife church crisis or something. It's just where I am right here, right now. But my prayer today for myself, and my prayer today for you, is that we would not allow any of these hard places, be it physical, spiritual, intellectual, faith, whatever it is, that we won't allow it to so quickly distort who and what the true gospel is about, and that we can identify that, and that we can just stay the course, just stay the course and do the next thing that needs to be done. So that's where I am today. I will speak with you guys later. That's Life with Julie.
That's what all the people say. You're riding high in April, shot back down in May. But I know I'm gonna change that tune when I'm back on top.